articles and thoughts on Vedanta by Parama Pujya Sri 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 Sachidanandendra Saraswati Mahaswamiji, Adhyatma Prakasha Karyalaya, Hode Narsipur. In that, aids to reflection on Vedanta, we were seeing. Let us continue the 13th point in that. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. We have seen that Shankara's tradition of interpretation of the Upanishads differs from both Upasanavadins who maintained that Vedas, to be a means of varied knowledge, should be supposed to enjoin something to be performed, and the Dhyana Niyogavadins who, while granting that the Vedantas may well be a means of valid knowledge with regard to an existing entity like Atman, that entity must be subservient to some meditation which the qualified seeker is prompted to perform. Both of these schools naturally held that the effect of meditation enjoined must needs be experienced in another world to be reached after death. There were, of course, some Vedantic schools which granted that final release from bondage may be attained in this very life. But one doctrine common to them all was that there is something to be performed in order to reach that goal. In perfect contrast to all other traditions, Shankara, in consonance with the teaching of Vedantins like Gaudapada Acharya, maintained that the knowledge of Brahman alone as the Maya cause of the birth, sustenance, and dissolution of the universe can secure moksha or freedom from samsara, since Brahman is by its intrinsic nature eternally the self of the seeker, ever pure, conscious, and free. Nothing but the dispersion of avidya or basic nescience is needed to reveal it. 14th point. The reader should remember that Shankara, in common with the other Vedantins contemporaneous with him or before his time, strictly stuck to the doctrine that Brahman, being a transcendental entity, can be known exclusively by the Vedanta Shastra or the system of Vedanta revealed in the Upanishads. The distinctive feature of his tradition, however, was that Brahmatman was an eternally existing entity which is beyond the ken of all secular pramanas or means of varied knowledge. Being devoid of specific features like sound, touch, or color or form which necessarily belong to external objects, it can never be perceived. Although Brahman is the cause of the universe, we can never guess that cause for the very reason that we only know the effect but can never guess the specific nature of the cause by means of interference or inference or other ordinary means of valid knowledge. The Brahmic nature of Atman taught in the Shastra can never be grasped through any other pramana. Tattvamasi iti Brahmatma bhavasya Shastramantarena anavagamyamanatvat. For the reason that neither Atman as the knower, Pramatra, nor the witnessing consciousness of that knower is within the range of the objects of these pramanas. 15th point. Contemporary with Shankara and Badarayana, however, there were systems of independent philosophies which solely depended upon secular pramanas as the only canons of correct knowledge. The Sankhyas, for instance, who relied upon perception, inference, and testimony as the only means of knowledge, believed that any existing entity can be known through one of these pramanas. They actually supposed that wherever the Shrutis refer to the cause of the world, they were appealing to syllogistic reasoning, which enables us to infer some material cause of the world, like the pradhana or primordial matter, which transforms itself into the universe at the time of creation. Treating the Shruti as main testimony, they interpreted the Vedantic texts in concordance with their own line of reasoning, Their chief doctrine was that Pradhana, original matter, Purusha, the experiencing soul, and the contact of these two, Sanyogaha, are eternally inseparable. There were other independent logicians like the Kanadas or Vaisheshikas who thought that Ishvara or God as the efficient cause of the world is to be inferred and that atoms are the material cause of the world, since according to them an effect is produced by many causes and not a single cause as Vedantins hold. True, there are no Sankhyas or Vaisheshikas as such in the modern world, but there are materialists who do suppose that matter is the original cause that gives rise to consciousness. They would not readily grant the pure consciousness is the one cause of the birth, sustenance, and final dissolution of all the universe. Now, the next point 16th, in the course of his interpretation of the Upanishadic texts, Badrayana, according to Shankara, refers to other speculators also who offer their own theory of the cause of the universe and interpret Vedantic texts accordingly. We shall see how Badrayana proves to conviction that the one Atman or Brahman is the only reality aimed at to be taught in these revelations and how he manages to disprove all other possible theories in this connection. I think let us continue this in the next session. हरे राम सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु सज्जनाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ओम तत्सत् कृष्णार्पणमस्तु सद्गुरुचरणार्पितमस्तु